Guys One Movie, and I'm Rudy the filmmaker.
And I'm Casey the cinephile.
And today we're going to do a couple of things kind of super awesomely different.
Not just regular different.
Hold on. Sorry, my notes were not ready. Anyways, we're going to do this show a little bit different. We actually have a friend who's going to be our special guest today. He's one of my friends, Mark. Say hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Anyways,
Nailed it.
He's going to be reviewing today. Our movie is SnowPiercer. But before we get into it, I just want to mention something. I got a random text message last night out of the blue from one of my friends, Terry, and she asked me, she goes, "You know what I just realized?" And I was like, "What?" She goes, "Casey looks like Weird Al." I think he does. But anyways, that's totally random. Mark, do you think he looks like one? Looks like Weird Al?
Possibly. Maybe.
His hair is curlier than mine.
That's what he keeps telling
And the
me.
face is way different.
It's almost the same. It's almost the same. I know he hates it, but I just figured I'd mention that really quick.
You're retarded.
Anyways, we'll also be showing one of my short films that I got to direct and co-write on at the end. So that's pretty exciting. So we're going to review SnowPiercer, which is a movie.
Obviously.
They came out. It actually came out in 2013, but it just came out on video. Or no, it was shot in 2013. It came out no? It came out on...
Yeah, it was released in theaters this year.
Yeah. Because I was like, wait a second, why is this telling me two different numbers? But anyways, yeah, and it stars Chris Evans. It was directed by Jun Ho Bong. It's a Korean director. I probably butchered that somewhere in there. But it stars Chris Evans, Ed Harris, John Hurt, who I love, Tilda Swinton, that she played the angel from Constantine.
Right.
And Jamie Bell, who I also love a lot. Just really quick, I absolutely love this movie.
Okay.
The reason is, Mark, I'm going to use this example, our guest today. We once talked about Inception and like why it was so good and what we felt about Inception. And it was just, you just felt, what's the word you use? Not full. I keep thinking full. Just relieved.
Just satisfied, I guess?
Satisfied, that's the word. Yeah. He said that. He said, you just watch the movie and you feel satisfied.
Okay.
My favorite part of this whole movie, and I'm not trying to ruin anything, because basically what the movie's about, the basic plot is you have the hierarchy of classes. They're on this train. And at the front of the train, you have the super rich people. And at the back of the train, you have the poorer than dirt people who are cutting off each other's limbs to feed each other. Anyways, they decide to revolt. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to ruin it. Obviously, it shows it in the freaking trailer. But they decide to revolt. And they're going from car to car to car. And one of the cars they open, and there's 50,000 guys in it with like axes and crap. And they're sitting there just like waiting. That moment, I knew I loved the movie.
And just big old smiles.
Oh, yeah, because they know that it's over. Somebody's dying.
They even like showcase it because they have those like masks on and all you can see is their mouths and they're just like big toothy grins.
Yeah. They either thought they had the upper hand, which I'm assuming they did.
Oh, they cray.
Yeah, I don't want to give away how that scene happened, but they thought they had the upper hand with the big smiles. But I loved Chris Evans' performance. You know, I have a weird relationship with Chris Evans because he turned me off in what was that one comic book movie he was in? He played the flame guy.
Fantastic
Four. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, I hate comic book movies. I really do. And he was in it, and he turned me off right then. I was like,
He didn't turn your flame on?
Boom. See, we do need soundboards.
But I don't know. In this, he did great. And in the whole movie, you don't know Ed Harris is in it.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, it says all over the thing. It starts starting at Ed Harris. So if you look up the movie, it's going to say it. But
I mean, I'm not going to watch it, so I don't know.
Who looks at that?
I do. I do. I actually look up stuff before.
Nerd.
But anyways, he's in it, and he plays a big role. And then I had a hard time recognizing Tilda Swinton in this
Really?
because I was like, I know her from something. Who is this person? And then, sure enough, I had the IMDb, of course. I actually had IMDb up while I was watching it, and it's her. That's the angel from Costume. I was like, what? The costume design. I have to give him that. She had like fake teeth. She had all this makeup, this weird wig on, all these random. Good. But anyways, I think it was great, and I'm scared to ask Casey what he thinks. Wait, hold on. Let's ask Mark what he thinks first. Casey's gonna be the end. Go ahead, Mark.
For me, Snowpiercer is an all-timer for me. Like, I know 20 years from now, I'm gonna be watching this movie still and still finding things out about it and just loving it. But yeah, I saw it twice in theaters. I watched it again last night.
I wish I'd have saw it in theaters.
It's fantastic. Casey?
Is that? Are you done?
Yeah.
That was pretty quick.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, to me, it felt like Matrix on a train.
Yeah.
And I know there's like, I don't know, just the whole premise to me was just, I know what they were trying to do, kind of, but it seems like they had an idea and then they're like, let's make it crazy by putting it on a train.
Yeah, and I was a little bit concerned about the ending. Like, no, don't get me wrong, I love this movie, but like at the end I was like, this didn't go the direction I thought.
I was waiting for the twist. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, there's got to be a twist. And there is a twist that's not really a twist because they kind of foreshadow it so hard.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, and I don't want to give it away, but yeah.
But, I don't know, it just didn't resonate with me. I don't know. I watched it last night. And I was like, because we were going to review it, and I was just like, dude, I don't know.
So, okay, well, let's break down the characters with you. Chris Evans, what do you think about his performance? The main guy.
I had a hard time telling that was him.
You didn't know it was Chris Evans? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
He was
the leader of the rebels. That was Chris Evans.
Yeah, though the main guy in the whole movie.
Yeah,
not the old guy, the original. That was John Hurt, but I love him too. He's a good actor.
I mean, for what they were trying to do, like characters, they did a really good job. Like they did a really good job of having like the crazy lady be sadistic.
And then Kang Ho Song, the Korean guy or whatever he was.
The security guy or whatever he was.
And they had their Chronoil or whatever it was called. Is that how you say it? Chronoil? Chronoil.
Yeah.
I had subtitles on for half of it because the baby was sleeping. So I didn't hear how they said it. I just kept seeing it. I was like, oh, okay.
But
I want that drug.
And of course there's weird things that stick out in my mind because there's when they start revolting, they're like, we want real food because they eat protein bricks or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, they're like, we want steak. And then the black lady's like, I want some chicken.
Not stereotyping at all.
And I was like, really?
I personally also don't think that you could survive on a train for 18 years.
No. But
I mean, like, they had like sushi and all these other foods and
fish tank, that like fish tank car.
Yeah, but they said, they only serve sushi twice a year, and that's because they're trying to maintain. So maybe if you like had strict guidelines.
But, well, how about this? Why do you like the movie?
Well, it's like Mark said about Inception. I just feel satisfied.
Okay.
Everything that I like in a movie was met. I like post-apocalyptic.
Okay.
I like sci-fi. I like a good story.
Yeah.
I like a character that's almost believable. Like, you find out, like, that story, which I don't want to give it away, about him when he first got on the train. and then the story with the old man, and then the story with the baby he was talking about, and then how that that some things it made sense when certain characters died. You know what part I'm talking about.
Right.
That why he was so upset about it, because I was like, why was he so upset that this person died when he was just like, obviously people are gonna die. It's a coup. People are gonna die.
And then they like introduce that one guy, the one bad guy who's just like crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I find it hard to believe that the only people left on the entire Earth on a train.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, that was my biggest problem with the movie is I couldn't get past the premise.
And then, but overall, I mean, other than a good movie makes me look past those things and normally it'll be like, hey, why is this like this? Why is this weird?
Yeah, it has to do with the whole suspension of disbelief thing, which is actually one of the reasons I really love this movie, because it makes no sense whatsoever. You start breaking everything down from like the architecture of the train to how. Okay, case in point. At one point, they go from a control room straight into a car that's like a techno club. It's like, why would you put that directly next to that car?
Well, it's like the guy that built the train. He was just a kid in a sandbox. He got to do whatever he want. And I think originally what happened is he built the train. He became a billionaire or whatever. Mm-hmm. Built the train to whatever he wanted. Built this giant rail system, and just said F it. And then hey, look, the end of the world happened, and everybody tried to get on his train.
Right.
So now he's got this. He's like, I don't care what you think. I'm gonna have a giant tank next to a sushi bar, and I don't care.
Well, and that's another thing. If it was made before the freeze, there's certain train functions that don't make sense unless it's after the freeze, like the way it makes the water.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, see, I looked past that. I didn't even think about that because it resonated on every single thing that I like in a movie.
And which that's another thing we could do one of these days. We could just do a podcast about talking about what makes a good movie for both of us.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
But I don't know. To me, it was one of those movies that's like really stylized, and they're really going for art.
And that actually was mentioned on IMDb, which is I'm about to go over some IMDb details. Unfortunately, which I'm sure Casey's like, oh, that figures. Why I say this? It flopped bad. Okay.
Yeah.
$39.2 million is what was spent on it. It made $4.4 million. Here's the thing, though. This was the first debut of this Korean director.
Yeah.
In English.
Right.
He's done a bunch of Korean films. He's very, decorated in Korea. I think he's Korean. I hope he is. If not, people will be like, he's not Korean.
At least you didn't say Asian.
I could say Asian.
He's one of them there Asians.
He's born in South Korea. Just like
he's South Korean.
Yeah, I got it right. But, most of it was, because I noticed, like, in the credits, most of it, everybody was, like, Russian or Korean. And that's because it was shot over there. That opening weekend, it did 171,000. But see, before we go to that, I know you've got something to say, Mark, but trust me, I want to say this. Because it was a Korean film, is that a correlation to the flop? Because, like with anime, let's just use anime as an example.
Okay.
I don't like anime.
Yeah.
Okay. Casey loves anime. Most Americans, I'd say general populace, don't like anime. Because of that, we don't have anime shows on at 7 o'clock at night. We don't have animes in theaters every week, like, in Japan. Now, is it because it's Asian, or he's Asian, or not American that it flopped? Or was it just bad AdSense?
Yeah, I think one of the things is, like, the only reason I knew about it is because of the movie reviewer I watch every week. Yeah. That is the only reason I knew that came out. That thing, I don't think it got near the publicity it needed.
Right, and me and Mark were going to go see it originally. I mentioned it, and I saw it as a trailer as an ad on YouTube to another trailer I was trying to look up. That was the only time I saw it. I didn't see it on anything. It wasn't on Xbox Live, where they have ads there all the time. It wasn't on anything else.
So, yeah, I just don't think they pushed it for some reason.
Well, I mean, here's the thing with that, and it has to do with the money it's made. Yeah, by conventional senses, it is a flop. I mean, it obviously hasn't made close to the money it took to actually make it. But one, I know it had a very limited release in theaters, and you're not going to make that much money if you don't show your movie in a lot of screens. And of course, they can't really afford to. But it was actually released video on demand as well, and it's actually made pretty good money.
Well, that's where I saw it.
Despite being in theaters at the same time. There's actually an article written about it. So in some ways, it's actually done pretty well. Also, too, as far as it being made by a Korean director, I don't think that was much of an influence on people not seeing it. Just because I don't think Joe moviegoers gonna look that up.
Well, it's not necessarily. Yeah, no, I know they're not gonna know it's by a Korean director. But I think what I meant by that is
the sensibilities, I guess,
Well, I mean, as a whole, because it is a director like J.J. Abrams. If you use J.J. Abrams, he's Bad Robot. He's got all these huge companies behind him because it's J.J. Abrams.
Right.
This this director,
Korean director,
did not have that.
Right.
He didn't have the distribution. Obviously.
Yeah. The budget, they probably had next to nothing as far as marketing. So.
Well, and for $40 million, those sets probably cost $10 million. Just breaking down the budget, we probably paid $20 million in all those big actors.
Yeah.
And then $10 million for crew and post, which is like nothing.
Yeah.
So there was probably nothing left over for distribution. They're like, oh crap, let's just put it on video on demand.
Right.
But that leads to the next thing, is why do American general film watchers watch crap and snub great films? And that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That is my pet peeve.
Yeah.
Oh, Thor or some BS. Thor was good, but some BS comic book movie makes, $192 million, but Grand Budapest Hotel makes a couple $100,000 that weekend, and you're just like, why?
Well, I'll even go further than that. Michael Bay movies.
Yeah.
There have been 4 Transformers movies. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the #1 movie for...
Yeah, and the Transformers have done over $1 billion worldwide. In like 2 movies, they did over $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably either close to, if not past the $2 billion mark in that franchise.
Yeah.
It's just, how? Why? Why do we say that's okay to go see crap when... I guess it just depends on people. I don't know.
It comes down to most people don't go to the movies to be engaged. They go just to kind of get away and,
burn 2 hours.
Yeah. Something like SnowPiercer that's kind of challenging and makes you think about certain things. I don't know, for some reason a lot of people just aren't really into that. They'll go see something like Transformers, which is just like this visual assault for 2.5 hours, and then after, it is, and then after, once it's done, they're like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing, and then really it's not.
No, it's like when Godzilla came out and they actually were like, we're gonna make a story out of this. Mm-hmm. We're not going to make the monsters fighting the forefront of it. We're just going to save that for the end. And people panned it because they were
visual assault.
Yeah.
Oh, man, but that's okay. A little quick aside by Godzilla. That's one of the great things about Godzilla is the fact that they didn't show the first 2 fights until the very end. Like the very first fight, they show, the 2 meeting up, and then they cut away to news footage. And it's great because you get all the information you need from that news footage. Is 1, Godzilla meets the Mutos. 2, they fought to a standstill. Neither one won. And then 3, the Muto ran away and Godzilla followed it. That's all you needed to know about that battle. You didn't need to spend 10 minutes watching them fight each other back and forth. And then when the actual fight came, you were at that point you were ready to watch it, and it was amazing.
Well, we did already review Godzilla, so I'll say that now. That's in a different episode.
Right.
But no, Mark has a point.
It makes you appreciate that last fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, that's... I'm not going to get into it because we already reviewed it.
Well...
I'm going to say is Atomic Breath.
Yeah.
We talked about that in our review. We talked about that.
When the tail lit up, I lost it.
Yeah. And what did you do? Can you mimic the sound? Can you mimic the sound?
You mean my squeak?
There you go. There you go. That's...
No, but I think I'm kind of halfway between the two camps. I'm not so much that I just want just insipid nothingness and toilet humor and whatnot, but this was too much for me just because I don't like being preached at a, during a movie. That's one thing I don't like.
And Snowpiercer kind of had a little politics on there. It was obviously a display of higher, middle, low class.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm really not. That's another thing. I'm not entirely sure what message they were. What is the message of Snowpiercer?
Man, I think, and I'm probably gonna ruin this. If you haven't seen it, turn it off now. I think that the message was he had that bad past. Well, like when he got on the train, he was trying to kill the woman.
Yeah.
And he was trying to be better slowly along this line. And he didn't necessarily think he deserved to be the leader.
Yeah.
And when they killed the old guy, he had to assume that. And I think that it's about getting over your past, becoming what you're supposed to be, and still doing the right thing, even though somebody says, oh, you can have it all, do whatever you want. And he still did the right thing. That kind of thing. What doesn't make sense, though, if we're still on the level of spoilers. Now that I'm thinking about this movie, I'm like, hey, wait a second. It's like at the beginning of the movie, they did the shoved the guy's arm out.
Yeah.
He was all iced out, and then they broke it off.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, within, a day, they could go outside.
Yeah.
So that didn't make sense to me. Maybe it's because they traveled to a different part of the world.
I think it was because they actually say at this altitude. So you got to figure one, they were at a higher.
He moved.
They were at a higher altitude, and two, they were going at what speed? So that wind chill factor had to be crazy, but still. Another thing is another problem I have with movies like these, going in, there is not going to be a happy ending. Now, I'm not saying that every movie has to have a happy ending, but just knowing there's not going to be, there's just going to be a resolution, and then, there is no coming back from what happens in this movie.
And literally, there's not, because, everybody was kaput.
But that's why I like the way this movie ended, because you see there's only one real ending. Like, there's only one way this can end, and it has to end, and they didn't stray away from that.
Yeah. And I think it's also, because, they survived on the train, for 18 years, they said?
Yeah.
It's a very, life goes on kind of message. It's going to find a way. To quote Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
So, Casey, buy, rent, or pass?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
It's just, you have to, I really feel like in order to enjoy this movie, you have to be a film person.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
And I think that's why we both latched onto it so hard. But yeah, I say buy, get the collector's edition, watch the commentary, watch the making of, learn how they did this, learn, see the interviews with the director, see where he got his inspiration. It's going to go into my big collection. I'm going to have the poster here probably pretty soon. So I say buy. Pre-order. Mark?
Which I did. For me personally, it's definitely a buy. Like I said, it's an all-timer for me. For everyone else, it's probably a rent.
It's probably a rent. Yeah, it might entertain you, but you also might be pissed off at the end. But speaking of the end, I'm going to show the Field of Fire trailer right now.
Okay.
That's my short. So let's go ahead and watch it.
You never know who you really are. It's not easy to come back from what you've done. War does not determine who is right. Only who is left.
Okay, so that was the Field of Fire trailer. That was my baby that I've been working on for a few months now. I will tell you a few things really quick. I was literally taking Kyle back to his house, and he lives in the middle of nowhere, and he's the DP for this and co-writer. And I just passed this giant field, and I literally thought, like, what happened there? You know, was there some big battle there? Did something, just my imagination started running. Like, if I could look back 200 years, what was going on in this giant field? I just had that. And I started thinking about this. What if two soldiers fought there? Or what if a big battle happened? And that became the inspiration. I wanted to write something. I wanted to, let my imagination run wild.
Right.
There. So, what do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously I've seen a little bit more of that since I helped.
Yeah, Casey did help me on the project.
But I think just from what I've seen, now that it's seeing some bits of it, color corrected and edited, I'm really looking forward to see the rest of it.
Yeah.
I think the trailer does a good job of setting it up and kind of give you an idea what's going on.
Yeah, but it's
But
pretty.
not really.
It's extreme short.
Yeah.
Less than 5 minutes, and I had to choose and really think what worked, what didn't work, what did I want to show. I don't want to show that much because there's so much that I could show very easily what happens in the short,
Right.
and I don't want to do that.
No, yeah, it's great as a teaser.
Yeah, well, I technically can't have a trailer.
Right,
It's more of
right.
a teaser, anyways.
I mean, yeah, there's actually, nothing about I guess really the actual story itself, but yeah, definitely as a teaser, it looks great.
All right, so I'll have an actual link in the description for you guys to check it out, share it, that kind of thing. I'll also put the link to the Facebook page. Give us a like, support us, and things like that. And I'd like to take the time to thank Mark for coming out and giving his 2 cents today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Yay. Golf claps. So, is there anything else you want to say, man? Are you good?
I mean, we could go on for another hour, but
I could.
Yeah.
I could.
Okay. You guys go on for an hour. I'll play some Peggle or something.
All right, well, this has been Two Guys, One Movie. I'm Rudy the Filmmaker,
And I'm Casey the Cinephile.
and we'll see you later.
Keep it real.